With captains being voted on today, some teams need more leadership than others, and where does this team fall on that spectrum?
I think all teams need great leadership. All great teams need great leadership, I should say. This team is certainly the unique thing about this team, I think, is that we've got a lot of guys on the fringe of being great leaders. They're good leaders. So we've got probably 8 to 12 guys that are there on the fringe, that are right there ready to make that next step into the elite leadership kind of category, but we're not there yet. So I do think for us to ultimately achieve what we want to achieve, we do have to have a few of those guys, if not all of them, make that next step.
Coach Meyer, on an interview with ESPN yesterday, said he holds his coaches accountable for behavior. And I'm assuming you're not.
Yeah, how about that, huh?
I'm assuming you're not running stairs or, doing 6 a.m. workouts as punishment. So what does he mean by that? What does that mean to you?
Well, it means that we are in control and we are held responsible and accountable for the decisions, the actions, the performance of the guys in our meeting room. And ultimately, their performance on and off the field is a reflection of us as leaders and mentors. So it is and it's been that way probably everywhere in the country. I think maybe a little bit more here under Coach Meyer, and it's something in the last year and a half that I've really grown to like and embrace, because you are almost forced to form that bond with your players. Now, on the flip side of it, you're also held accountable for the actions of 18 to 22-year-olds, which I know if my coach was held accountable for some of my actions when I was 18 to 22, I don't know if that guy would still have a job, but they also didn't have Twitter and camera phones and Facebook and all that stuff back then too. So long story short, I think it's fairly common throughout the country. I think maybe a little bit more emphasis is put on it here under Coach Meyer, and it's something that us as staff members have certainly embraced.
Front row, Bill, if you guys could state your name and affiliation, please, as well.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch. For people who haven't seen the team since last year, how different is it going to look for the average fan out there?
Oh, not maybe to the average fan, not a whole lot different. I think we're not going to go from what we were last year to the triple option, to a wishbone team, or an under center 22 personnel, I team or anything like that. So our base tenets and foundations of being a up tempo spread, no huddle offense, I think will stay the same. I think when and how the ball is distributed maybe a little bit different, being that we have improved at some areas on the perimeter. We've improved a little bit at quarterback too. So I think in play selection and ball distribution, there may be some differences from last year, but I don't think our core foundations of who we are and what we believe in will change. Yeah, I think, again, I've been asked that. We are not, nor will we ever be, one of those teams that they exist in the country, and that's great for them that they want to run 90, 100 snaps. For us, it sounds cliched, but we're going to do whatever it takes to win, and so we're better at going fast now than we've ever been. If the situation dictates that we need to do more of it, we certainly will, and feel confident that we can. But at the same time, we don't have an object. We don't want to play the entire game lightning fast, because we understand that there's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle in terms of winning a football game.
Middle, Dave?
Dave Biddle, Buckeyes.com. Tom, can you discuss the progress of Cardale Jones? I'm sure you don't need him this year, but just how's he coming along?
Improved slowly. I think he does a lot of things really well. I think he's like any of the other quarterbacks. I think his understanding of what we're doing offensively has improved. I think his decision making has improved. His biggest hurdle right now is just to maintain a level of consistency. It's like I've said about other guys before, you know, when his good is really, really good, but his bad right now is really, really bad. And so we need that good there a lot more than the bad right now. And so he has spurts where you think he's regressed a little bit maybe and hasn't taken that step, but more spurts now than ever before of where you can see some steady progress.
JT Barrett, real quick, is the plan to redshirt him? Is it too early to release him?
I think it'd be too early to say. I would hope we have that luxury and that he would be able to have a year to season himself a little bit. But at this point, who knows? But yeah, I think, you know, your fourth quarterback, you hope you don't get to that point, I guess.
Front row, right, Austin?
Austin Ward, ESPN.com. So much of this offseason was spent talking about Braxton's development, mechanics, reading defenses, leadership. What area do you think he came the furthest in over the last 9-10 months?
Confidence in himself and in what he's doing. We can say all we want to say about his improved mechanics, his improved fundamentals, but I think when the confidence in what he was doing and the plays that were called and the where his eyes needed to be and the reads that he needed to make and the decisions that he needed to make were second nature to him and very comfortable for him, he gained a level of confidence that then allowed him to play with much better fundamentals and mechanics. So, because we always knew it was there. I mean, we'd seen the guy last year, you know, make some really, really sound fundamental plays that, I mean, he looked like $1 million. The problem was I don't know that he was ever truly confident in himself and in the big picture of what he was supposed to do and how he was supposed to do it. So we didn't see those near as much as now. I mean, he is very, you know, got tunnel vision, so to speak, in terms of I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm getting it done, and now my mechanics and my fundamentals can flourish a little bit.
Front row, Doug?
Doug Van Rees, Cleveland.com. Coach Meyer was talking about Braxton's pocket presence, that confidence. Does that go into something like that, or how does a quarterback work on that and understanding when to take off, when to hang in, that part of it?
I think it's all here. None of it. You know, we do fundamental drills every day, and he's really, really good at them in the drills. It was the translation of the drills into an 11-on-11 game setting that, because of his lack of confidence in maybe where to go with the football and what to look at and what to see and how to do some of the things that we were asking him to do, led to a diminished pocket presence, so to speak. So I think once all of that came, and again, not to sound like a broken record, but once that level of understanding and confidence in his competence in the mental aspect of the game started to come around, now everything around him, from fundamentals to pocket presence to all the minutia details of how to be a really, really good quarterback, started to come a lot easier to him.
Front row, middle, Steve?
Yeah, Coach, I think we can flesh together the quarterback, running back, tight end rotations, but I think it's a little murky at wide receiver and offensive line. Can you take us through maybe those two groups and say who's one, who's two, and where things kind of lie right now?
Yeah, you know, we feel like we've got 4 wide receivers right now that would definitely be considered starter slash, you know, 50, 60, 70 play a game guys, and that would be Philly Brown, Evan Spencer, Devin Smith, and Chris Fields. Those 4 guys we feel very comfortable about. Philly's kind of your swing guy, if you will, where he can play outside receiver, he can play some inside receiver. Chris Fields is mainly an inside receiver, and Devin and Evan are both mainly outside receivers. And then Beyond that, you've got a couple guys in the mix that are trying to fight for that 5th and 6th spot, and Mike Thomas and Corey Smith and I drew a blank. The freshman, James Clark. Yeah, I recruited him. Yeah. Shows you how. Yeah, and James Clark, and then obviously we'll sprinkle in some Dontre Wilson in there as well. So those guys are kind of, like I said, they're the ones that are battling for those leftover reps and those leftover snaps during the game.
Couple more questions. Front row, Tim.
Yeah, a couple, three. Tim May, Columbus
Tim
Dispatch.
May, Columbus Dispatch.
Exactly. Define what you mean by sprinkle in some Dontre Wilson. What does that mean?
He's going to touch the ball. We'd be foolish not to have him touch the ball. I think you've got to be careful with a true freshman that has to play some running back, has to play some wide receiver, has to flex out and run routes, but yet be in the backfield and run plays, if you will. And so the package will be small to start the year off and let him become an expert at the few things that we're asking him to do. Through the first 3 weeks, we've thrown a ton of stuff at him. And now that he's been exposed to so many different things, and he's screwed a lot of them up, but the exposure is there, and now this last week will be kind of fine-tuning. Here's what you need to be really good at come Saturday against Buffalo. These 8-10 plays, formations, routes, runs. That's what we need you to be good at. So how many times and how often and how many snaps and how many plays and where's he going to – I don't know. I'm not being coy. At this point on Monday of game week, I don't know that we know that, but I know he'll touch the ball, and I know he'll have a condensed package for him to get the ball to him.
When you look at your running back rotation, do you see 4, 5 just totally different guys, or how would you? I mean, you go from Jordan Hall to Briante Dunn to Warren Ball to Ezekiel Elliott to possibly Dontre Wilson also in there. How do you use those parts?
You feed the guy that needs to get fed, I guess. the guy that's playing the best will get the ball, and so we'll determine early who that is. Jordan Hall will obviously, he's at a great camp, will be the guy that starts off at that spot and will continue at that spot, and then as need be, we'll, again, a running back can't play 75 plays a game, so we'll figure out who goes in next and see how he's doing, and if he's having success, then maybe some of the other guys, their reps get limited, or if he's not having success, okay, let's try playing C, let's try playing D, and so I think there's a little bit of a hierarchy. I don't know that I'm prepared to share that right now, but beyond Jordan, you certainly want to get those guys some game reps and then just kind of see how they do.
Kind of asked you this the other day, but in a general sense, do you, for lack of another term, do you feel like your gun's fully loaded going into the season compared to a year ago? I mean, from an offensive standpoint, your weapons are fully deployed.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd ever say it's fully loaded. I kind of like those teams they put out there in Honolulu and in the Pro Bowl, and then I'd feel like we were fully loaded. But we're closer than we've ever been, and that's exciting. Again, the hard part as coaches is you have to temper your creativity a little bit, because one of the things I was so proud of us as an offensive staff and the players this fall camp was we did the same things over and over and over and over and over again, and we did them, and we were successful. Week 3, when the defense knew exactly what we were doing, we could still execute, and that was exciting to me. And so I think you have to be careful to temper your enthusiasm and creativity, because at the end of the day you can overthink and overcoach yourself out of being really good at your identity. This is who we are, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it better than anybody in the country. If that means that hey, we want to get in a 2 tight end package with no running backs and put Dontre here and Jalen Marshall there and put Jordan here and do this and switch. At the end of the day, well, hang on. Let's do what we're really, really good at, and then figure out how to plug those pieces of the puzzles into what we're good at.
Last question, far left, Rusty.
Rusty Miller, AP. Could you talk just a little bit about Buffalo's defense, what they tried to do, how you attack it? And secondly, beyond just winning the game as an offensive coordinator, what your goals are to get out of the opener?
Yeah, well, Buffalo's defense is actually pretty unique. It's something that is a little bit difficult to prepare for because you've been playing against a certain style of defense all fall camp, and then you go into your first game, and they're a 3-3 stack team that they'll play 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 safeties, and 2 corners. And the unique thing, not only is the front unique because it's from a 3 down rather than a 4 down front, their coverage schemes are very unique. They do a lot of unique things in terms of having their corners as their half field players to get the safeties, those 3 safeties involved in the run fits. So it'll be a challenge as we go through this week to kind of retrain our brains offensively to what we've been facing for 3 weeks, and then retrain them to, okay, now this is Buffalo. This is completely different than what you faced. They have a really, really good linebacker, number 46. I can't remember his name, but he is an extremely, extremely talented player. Probably will be a first few round draftable kind of guy after this season, and so he poses some matchup issues that we'll have to game plan for. And to answer the second part of your question, what are we looking to get out of it? Obviously, we want to win the game. We want to score. We want to execute. We want to minimize our negative plays. That was one thing. We felt like we took too many sacks last year. We had probably a few too many negative yardage runs. So we want to be. We want our execution level and our fundamentals and our techniques, and we want everything to be sound. And at the end of the day, we don't ever set a point total. We want to score this many points. We want to rush for this many yards. We want to throw for this many yards. We want to be very, very sound and very fundamental, which is something we weren't last year in the opener, and I think we've got a chance to be this year. So if we can minimize or eliminate those negative plays and obviously turnovers, I think we'll have proved to ourselves that we're headed in the right direction.
Coach, just to clarify real quick, I don't know if you mentioned Jalen Marshall and the receivers. Is he in that mix, or has he been set back by concussion issues?
We'll set back a little bit, yeah. We'll still try to get him in the mix a little bit, but he's got some ground to make up.